It all started with a message, a simple, ordinary message that changed everything. "Hey, I saw your post about photography. You've got a real eye for emotion." His name was Ethan, or at least that's what he said. His profile picture showed a smiling young man standing under a cherry blossom tree, sunlight hitting his brown hair just right. He looked like someone out of a dream, gentle, kind, warm. At that time, I was 22, finishing my graphic design degree, and living in a small apartment that constantly smelled like coffee and wet paint. My world was quiet, too quiet, until Ethan's voice filled it. We started chatting about art, books, and life. His words carried something that felt genuine, something that made me feel seen. Every morning I'd wake up to his "Good morning, sunshine," and every night I'd fall asleep to his "Don't overthink, I'm here." I told my best friend Nora about him.
You've never met him, Lily. Don't you think that's weird?
It's not weird. People meet online all the time now.
Yeah, but they also lie all the time.
I laughed it off. Ethan wasn't like that. He was sweet, patient, and never pushed me to do anything I didn't want to. When I got sick, he called me every night until I fell asleep. When I failed my first big client pitch, he sent me a playlist called Songs for Broken Dreamers, and told me I'd make it next time. For 2 years we were inseparable, through texts, calls, and endless late-night video chats where he said his camera was broken, so I only ever saw his silhouette. And I believed him. Until one night, while we were talking, I caught something strange. He forgot the name of the city he once told me he lived in. I laughed, thinking maybe he was joking. But then I noticed his hesitation, the small pause, the way his breathing changed. Something in me shifted.
"Ethan," I whispered, "you're acting weird. Are you hiding something from me?"
There was silence.
Lily, you wouldn't love me if you knew who I really was.
The screen flickered, the call disconnected, and for the first time in 2 years, I felt afraid of the person I loved. The next morning, Ethan was gone. No messages, no calls, no "Good morning, sunshine." At first I thought it was a connection issue. Maybe his Wi-Fi was down, or his phone had died. But a day turned into 2, and 2 turned into a week. His profile was suddenly deleted. The name Ethan Cole vanished from every platform. I searched everywhere, Instagram, Discord, even the old photography forum where we first met. Nothing. It was like he had been erased from existence.
What did I do wrong?
Nora came over with ice cream and that skeptical look she always had.
I told you something was off, Lil. You gave your heart to a stranger.
He wasn't a stranger. He knew everything about me, my dreams, my fears, even the color of my bed sheets.
Exactly. And what do you know about him?
Her words hit me like a slap. She was right. In 2 years of loving him, I never truly knew who he was, but I couldn't let it go. I needed answers, so I did something I never thought I'd do. I hacked into his old messages. I still had his email address from when he sent me photos of his travel shots. I traced it back using a simple IP locator tool. The results made my stomach drop. He wasn't from Chicago, like he told me. The address pinged from Atlanta, from a small suburb just outside the city. I couldn't believe it. Had he lied about everything? His name? His voice? His face? The thought made my chest tighten, but curiosity burned stronger than heartbreak. So, one weekend, I decided to go there. Not as a lover, but as a detective. When I reached the address, it led to a quiet, middle-class neighborhood. Kids were playing outside, a dog barked in the distance, and then I saw the mailbox. Cole Residence. My heart skipped. I walked up to the door and rang the bell.
"Hi, sorry, I'm looking for Ethan Cole. Does he live here?"
Her expression changed instantly. Her lips trembled as she whispered,
Ethan passed away 3 years ago.
What?
He was in a car accident, she said softly. He loved photography. Are you one of his friends?
I couldn't breathe. If Ethan was dead, then who had I been talking to for the last 2 years? I stood frozen on that porch, my legs trembling as Ethan's mother looked at me with kind confusion.
Are you okay, dear?
I think there's been a mistake.
But deep down, I knew there wasn't. She invited me in, offered tea, and showed me photo albums. Ethan as a child, Ethan at graduation, Ethan holding a camera with that same warm smile I had fallen for. Except, the man in the pictures wasn't the one I knew. The voice in my head screamed. Then who was he? I thanked her and left, my mind spinning with every possible explanation. There was only one answer that made sense now. Someone had been pretending to be Ethan Cole. Back home, I sat in the dark, scrolling through our old chat screenshots. Every emoji, every good night, my girl. now felt like a line from a script. Whoever he was, he had stolen a dead man's identity and used it to control me emotionally for years. And then, something clicked. In one of our last calls, I remembered hearing a faint beeping in the background, like an office sound. He said it was a camera flash, but what if it wasn't? I opened his old emails again and traced one of the attachments. A photo he once sent of his view from Chicago. The metadata still existed. Location, New York City. My heart pounded. I had a city. I had a new target. 3 weeks later, I was in New York, pretending to be a freelance writer doing a story on catfishing crimes. Through hours of searching, I found something unbelievable. A freelance photographer named Evan Cole, who used the same photo watermark as Ethan. I found him on social media, and when I saw his face, my blood ran cold. It was him, the man I'd been in love with. But his name wasn't Ethan. It was Evan Cole, and he was very much alive, posting new photos, traveling, smiling. The betrayal burned deeper than anything I'd ever felt. I created a fake account, followed him, and watched him post a photo with the caption,
"Sometimes pretending is easier than feeling."
I clenched my fists. He had used me like a character in his pretend life. This wasn't just a breakup anymore. This was a crime, and I was done being his victim. The rain was relentless that night, the kind of rain that blurred the line between tears and sky. I stood outside Evan Cole's studio, hidden behind a row of umbrellas and strangers, watching through the glass as he laughed with a model. He looked the same tousled brown hair, the same disarming grin. But now, every detail of him made my stomach twist. That smile had been my comfort, my illusion, and now it was proof of his deceit. I tightened my coat around me, my phone trembling in my hand. For weeks, I'd replayed how this moment might go, whether I'd scream, cry, or break. But now that I was here, I felt nothing, just cold. When the model left, I stepped forward and knocked. He turned, curious, and then his face shifted. Recognition, confusion, fear.
You lied to me. You used a dead man's name. You let me fall in love with a ghost.
He ran a hand through his hair, sighing.
It's not what you think.
Then what is it, Evan? Because for 3 years I believed in a person who never existed. You made me feel safe. You made me love you. And it was all fake.
He looked away.
I didn't mean to hurt you. It started as a photography project. Identity and emotion, the way people connect through images. But then
you decided to play God? You pretended to be someone else because you wanted authentic emotion for your art?
I fell for you, Lily. That part was real.
My chest tightened, a flash of the old warmth rising, but I forced it down. No, Evan, you don't fall in love by lying. You fall into obsession, not love.
The silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating.
I wanted to tell you the truth so many times, but every time I tried, I thought you'd leave, and I couldn't lose the only person who saw me.
You wanted someone to see you, but you never saw me.
I turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist. His touch, once comforting, now felt like a burn.
Lily, please, I can explain everything. Just give me a chance.
You had 3 years. You don't deserve another minute.
I walked out, my heels echoing through the wet pavement, heart pounding.
Behind me, through the rain, I heard his voice, desperate, broken. I never meant for you to find out like this.
Outside, the city lights blurred in the drizzle. I finally let the tears fall, not for him, but for the version of myself that had believed in love without proof, in trust without truth. But deep inside, something darker stirred, because I knew this wasn't over. He'd built his life on lies, and I was about to destroy it, piece by piece. The next morning I woke up with swollen eyes and a storm raging inside my chest. Sleep hadn't helped, coffee hadn't helped, only one thing would: justice. For 3 years, Evan Cole had lived behind a mask he'd painted with charm, mystery, and the illusion of love. Now it was time for me to tear it off. Live. I opened my laptop, scrolling through the countless messages he'd sent me under his fake name, Adrian Cole. You're the only person who really understands me. I can't wait for our future. You make me believe love is real. I saved them all, every photo, every chat log, every timestamp. If he used me for a project, I would turn him into one. I went to my best friend Maya, a digital journalist who worked at a popular online magazine.
He built a fake identity for art? That's not art, that's emotional fraud.
Exactly. He needs to face consequences. But I don't want revenge that looks bitter. I want truth that burns.
Then we'll expose him the right way, publicly. But Lily, once this goes out, there's no going back.
There's nothing left to go back to.
That night, we began. We created a feature titled The Man Behind the Mask, the photographer who faked love for art. Maya insisted I stay anonymous, but I didn't want anonymity. I wanted him to know. The next day, the story went viral. Evan's name trended across every major platform. Fake. Love. Nosh Evan Cole exposed. His social media was flooded. Thousands of people condemning him for emotional manipulation. Brands began pulling out of his partnerships. His studio's website crashed under the traffic. And me? I watched it all unfold. Equal parts satisfaction and heartbreak. I had loved to lie, but that didn't mean the pain wasn't real. That evening, I received an email. Subject line, "We need to talk." Sender, Evan Cole. My hands froze.
Lily, you got what you wanted. My career's over. Everyone thinks I'm a monster. But before you celebrate, you should know something. Meet me tonight at the old pier, alone, if you still want the truth.
I stared at the screen, my pulse quickening. Was this guilt, manipulation, or something else? Maya warned me not to go, but part of me, the part that still needed closure, couldn't resist. That night, under the heavy rain, I drove to the pier. The wind howled, waves crashing against the wood.
You shouldn't have come.
Then why ask me to?
Because you deserve the truth, even if it ruins both of us.
He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small flash drive.
This is what it was really about. What's on it? Proof that I wasn't the only one lying.
My throat went dry.
What do you mean?
You think I found you by accident? That I just picked you out of the blue? Someone sent me to you, Lily. Someone who wanted this to happen.
But before he could answer, headlights flared in the distance, cutting through the rain. A black car stopped near the dock, doors opening fast.
They found us.
And before I could ask another word, he shoved the flash drive into my hand. The night exploded into chaos, shouting, footsteps, the blinding storm. I ran, clutching the flash drive like my life depended on it, because in that moment, it probably did. Rain still pounded against my car windows as I sped away from the pier. My hands trembled around the steering wheel, the flash drive burning in my palm like a cursed object. Evan's voice echoed in my mind. Someone sent me to you. Who? And why me? When I finally reached my apartment, I locked the door, shut the curtains, and sat before my laptop. Every instinct screamed not to open it, that whatever I found could destroy more than just my peace. But curiosity and fear had already crossed the line. I plugged in the drive. A single folder appeared on the screen. Project Eden inside were hundreds of images of me. Photos I never knew existed. Me at the cafe, walking to work, leaving my apartment, even one from my bedroom window. I felt sick. How long had I been watched? Then came the documents. Detailed notes, reports, timestamps, each labeled with my name, and at the top of one file written in cold digital ink, Subject 07, Lily Carter, Psychological Evaluation in Progress. Objective: test subject's reaction to emotional manipulation and attachment stimuli. Monitored by Dr. Evelyn Moore. My blood froze. Evelyn Moore. That was Evan's psychiatrist. He'd mentioned her once, said she helped him control his anxiety. But this wasn't therapy. This was an experiment.
And I was one of the test subjects.
I clicked a video file. The screen flickered. A dark room, surveillance footage.
Has Subject 07 begun trusting you?
Completely. She believes I'm falling for her.
Good. Push deeper. Make her confess what she fears losing most.
And then what?
Then we take it away.
My breath shattered. It wasn't just a fake romance. It was psychological torture dressed as love. Tears blurred my vision as I slammed the laptop shut. My entire relationship, the laughter, the love, the heartbreak, had been orchestrated. And yet, part of me still couldn't hate him completely. Because I'd seen the look in his eyes that night at the pier, that wasn't acting. He was terrified too. I needed to find him. I needed answers.
The next day, I went to his studio, but it was sealed off. Police investigation in progress. Inside, I could see shattered frames, overturned lights, and blood on the floorboards. A chill crept down my spine. I called Maya. She was breathless when she answered.
Lily, don't go looking for him. The police think he's missing.
Missing? He told me someone was after him.
Then whoever was behind that project might have silenced him.
That night, I sat alone, staring at the flash drive on my desk. Part of me wanted to hand it over to the police, let them deal with it, but another part whispered that this wasn't over yet, because at the bottom of the flash drive, one last file sat unopened. To Lily, if you're reading this. I clicked it. Evan's face appeared on the screen, recorded days before the pier. He looked tired, his voice softer than I remembered.
Lily, if you're watching this, it means everything fell apart. You were never supposed to find out like this. I was part of Project Eden, yes, but I didn't know what it really was. I thought it was a behavioral study for couples therapy. When I realized what they were doing, when I found out you were one of the targets, it was too late. They're watching me, watching all of us. But you can end it. The real proof isn't in that drive. It's in the main server, and you know where to find it. Remember the place where we first met?
The video ended. The cafe, the same one where he had first smiled at me across the table, pretending to spill his coffee, like fate. That was where it began. And maybe that's where it would end. The cafe looked the same as always. Warm lights, soft jazz, people talking over cappuccinos. Yet tonight, every sound felt hollow. It was the place where I thought love had begun. Now I knew it was where I had been chosen. My heart pounded as I stepped inside. The smell of roasted coffee beans carried memories I wanted to burn. The same seat, the same window, even the same chipped corner on the table where Evan had once written my name with his finger. I sat down slowly, scanning the room. Nothing looked out of place, but my instincts screamed danger. If Evan was right, someone was still watching. Underneath the table, taped to the bottom of the wood, my hand brushed against something, a small black keycard. My chest tightened. He'd left it for me. I slipped it into my pocket and stood, leaving the cafe as calmly as I could. Outside, the rain had started again, soft, cold, relentless. I followed the address Evan had written in one of his sketches, where art and data meet. It led me to an abandoned art gallery at the city's edge, one Evan used to rent for his exhibitions. Now, it was quiet, empty, except for the faint hum of servers behind a wall. Inside, a faint blue light flickered from a hidden door behind a mural. I swiped the keycard. A click. The door slid open. The small room behind it was filled with humming machines, blinking screens, and files marked Eden. Each screen displayed profiles, men and women from across the country, all connected by strings of data, videos, and emotional logs. Project Eden wasn't just about me and Evan. There were dozens of victims. And at the center of it all, Dr. Evelyn Moore. I opened one of the files marked Director Access. Han Subisen Dhuri, Eitsbröstand.
We've proven love can be engineered, even grief, trust, and heartbreak. Our emotional manipulation models are ready for field testing. Subjects believe their relationships are organic, when in fact every text, every word, every accidental meeting is pre-calculated.
My stomach turned. I realized then, I was a product, a simulation in someone's experiment about human connection. And Evan, he wasn't the villain. He was a test subject who broke the system because he actually fell in love with me.
A sudden sound behind me, footsteps. I turned.
You shouldn't have come here, Lily. You were supposed to forget.
You used me. You ruined lives.
No, my dear. We revealed truth. Love is just data. Predictable, programmable, and disposable.
Evan didn't think so. He loved me despite your lies.
He became unpredictable. That made him a liability.
What did you do to him?
What we always do to broken experiments. We end them.
I moved before I could think, grabbing a glass frame from the desk and smashing it toward her. The gun fired, shattering the monitor behind me. Sparks flew. I kicked the gun away, slammed the emergency switch, and the system began a full data upload.
You'll destroy everything. Exactly.
Flames from an electrical spark began licking the cables. The heat, the sirens, the chaos, it all blurred together. I ran. As I reached the street, the gallery exploded behind me in a cloud of smoke and light. Days later, headlines flooded the internet. Psychological experiment exposed, dozens of victims of emotional manipulation. The truth was finally out, but Evan was never found. No body, no trace, just the faint memory of his smile. Weeks later, I visited the cafe again, the same window seat, the same rain, and on the table, a single folded napkin with one line written in his handwriting, "Love can't be programmed, Lily. You proved that." A tear slipped down my cheek. He was alive, somewhere, watching. And maybe, someday, we'd meet again, not as subjects in someone's experiment, but as two souls who found love, even when it wasn't supposed to exist.